Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we talk about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we explore our stories of connection to the divine, to that which is bigger than us, to the big picture of our beingness, and we relate it to our third dimensional experience. And it's just so fascinating. We can find so many points of connection and similarity along this path. And so I'm your host, Kerri Hummingbird. I love taking people on that journey of self-discovery into who they really are in truth and love underneath all the crust and the stories and the ancestral healing and all the stuff, that the journey of all of that finding and discovery of true self. I love that. And I love interviewing people who have made the journey themselves and continue to take the journey. Because of course we're all in process here. None of us is like totally cooked, but we're in process and we can guide each other along the way. And so I love to have guests on the show that also can share their stories. And so today I have a wonderful guest, Loren Cellentani. Welcome to the show, Loren.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you today.
So Loren is a women's holistic health coach. She teaches how to connect to your inner guidance system through focusing on your health and wellness. Let go of the fitness and diet plans that don't work and aren't fun to find your wellness flow. And she does her podcast as well, which I'm also on, Witchy Wellness Radio, which I love that title, Witchy Wellness Radio.
Yep.
She talks about principles from energetic healing, the law of attraction, natural life cycles, and how all this can weave in together your health and wellness routines. And so this is just going to be great because we're going to talk a lot about discovering how your emotions and your body responses are telling you what you need. In fact, your body is not in the way, but leading your way, which I love that.
Yes,
We
it is.
just had a personal experience with that a little earlier before we got on this call. So tell us, Loren, tell us a little bit about your own journey to Witchy Wellness Radio and discovering like your purpose and how you got into all of this. Because I know you did it because you experienced things yourself, right? That's how we all find the way.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. And I just wanted to take a second and thank you for showing up for yourself and having this beautiful show and helping others shine their beautiful lights on here as well. It's an honor.
Well, it's super fun. You know, I love it. Just like I know you love your podcast. It's fun to meet new people.
Yeah. And I love having people like you on my show as well. And, you know, the past 10 years have been my own journey of awakening. And when you're going through awakening, you sometimes don't know that you actually are. And so mine started off actually during my college graduation. And I had my first panic attack and almost didn't even walk across the stage because I felt like I was preparing for this version of myself that other people thought I should be my entire life up to this point. And it just slapped me, you know, spiritual awakening just kind of knocks you off your feet and you look around and you're like, what is this reality? So I would love to say that I, you know, dove right in and everything was perfect right away, but we know that it doesn't work that way. Struggled with anxiety for years, and through that I cleaned up my diet in a very 3D approach to health and wellness, and started a yoga practice and working out, very physical type of healing. And it got to the point where there are different disorders now. It's called orthorexia, where you are too healthy. Like you get anxiety if, you know, you go to somebody's house for a party and, you know, there's no gluten-free vegan raw dip for you to eat. You know, you have to be overly healthy and able in order to stay calm and grounded. I wasn't that far, but, you know, I had my, my triggers, you know, at Whole Foods, I would like go through the grocery line and I'd stand there with my chest puffed out, looking at surveying my like all organic, vegan, gluten-free, like groceries. And then life happened. I, you know, got into a relationship that was not serving me, but I know that it was a big initiation. And I, you know, realized that I was completely giving my power away. And through that, it really, you know, my body started reacting in ways that was literally screaming at me. And no matter how healthy I ate, no matter, you know, how much yoga or how much I ran, my body was still screaming at me. And I remember just like screaming back and just asking, just not even asking, yelling at myself, my body, could you just act effing normal already and like get your shit together? Like, we got stuff to do. I can't have you doing blah, 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 blah. But really, it was telling me that I was not in a good situation. My intuition was literally screaming at me through my body. So after that, I went to very deep spiritual healing mindset of, healing that inner wounded feminine in myself, but also forgiving myself and, saying sorry and apologizing to my body and really mending that relationship between mind, body, and soul. And like you said, we're never completely cooked. But for me, I saw this opportunity to bridge this gap between spirituality and wellness because like there's always some new fad diet. There's always, there's a new workout plan and then there's some people who are very spiritual that, or anybody really, that aren't grounded. And your body will speak to you and try to ground itself either through weight gain, through digestion issues, however it surfaces in your body. So I like to kind of bridge the gap between that for my clients, as well as on my podcast, Witchy Wellness Radio, where I'm at the point now, and I like to help empower people, like you said, that our bodies are not in the way, they're actually leading our way. And, using principles, it's really just law of attraction. It is, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my body? Not losing this many pounds, because that doesn't matter, but how do I want to feel now? And making choices every single day that are going to serve you and not what you should be doing, how you feel at that moment, and kind of raising your vibration that way in your body. Because, I could meditate for hours and hours upon hours every day, but like, I still want to live my life in this experience. And I want to be able to bring that vibration, bring that dimension into this reality, into this physical body. And as my belief is, as human beings, we have that capability. We are divine, beautiful creators in the flesh. And sometimes I feel like more empathetic people, we try to live our lives outside of our bodies, either waking or not waking. And I really want to empower people that health and wellness can be combined with spirituality and you can feel good in your body. And it's not about looking a certain way. It's really empowering yourself to listen and tune inward to your own emotions and your body's responses in order for you to really live your highest and best self. So long story short.
No, I love that. I love like so much of what you said and tuning into your body's responses and listening to that rather than listening to your chattering mind. Like I was on a call, without giving any details, but I was on a call where my mind was hearing one thing. It was hearing one storyline, one that sounded all peaceful and loving and like I found my way and all this kind of stuff. And then underneath, my body was feeling what I feel when I'm faced with entities, like,
Yeah.
Spiritual entities that are like provoking me or taunting me or things like that. And so I was like, my body was telling me, danger, like there's something here, danger, like, and my mind was like, but the dialogue seems fine. It seems normal. And it was like incongruent. So like we have to learn to listen to our bodies in order to decipher this experience, right? Because if we just stay in our mind, which is like just perceiving and thinking at the surface level, which is one level of information, but there's like so much more, and the body has access to that. I'm sure you have all kinds of information about how that happens.
Oh yeah. And well, I guess for me, this isn't really answering the question. For some reason, this popped in my head. The easiest thing for us is to experience our senses, and that's why we're here in this body, to actually feel. And like your body was telling you on the call, you were feeling something, and your body can decipher and feel so many different wavelengths of energy. And our heart, actually, the electromagnetic spectrum in our heart is like 5 to 10 times larger than our brain. and we feel here, we think here, but we all, we download through both ways. But our senses are a great way of, feeling what our environment is telling us, whether it's seen or unseen. Like anxiety, it's not just the word anxiety. You have, or these thoughts you physically feel in your body, and it's different for each person. For me, my heart starts racing, my stomach, just like the pit drops, my eyes start become very jittery, I can feel, for some reason, my nose starts to tingle. And just being aware of your body and the triggers, really, positive and negative things of what it's trying to tell you. And being able to do that is really becoming aware, and becoming cognizant of the metacognition, actually, is what it's called. And you can practice this through meditation, is, kind of reviewing your day. How did I do? If I could do this day over again, what would I change? What did I do really well? What can I improve on? And, what can I change tomorrow? How can I show up better? What wisdom did I gain today that I didn't know in the beginning of the day? And without judgment, because I know myself, I can should all over myself, like I should have done this, I should have done that, yada, yada, yada. But it's really being able to become present with yourself, your body, and your thoughts and your emotions, to be able to become more of an observer of what's going on in your body and in your mind. Because a lot of these come from these subconscious beliefs. And before the age of 7, so from our birth to 7, our brains are just this huge sponge. We don't have these analytical facilities at all built up, because we're learning how to survive in our environment. We're learning our culture, we're learning our family environment, what's okay, how to fit in. And so when we're born up to the age of 7-ish, we just absorb all of these programs without any filter at all. That can be money related, body related, relationships, like, I don't know, something with money is, never being able to save, having to always penny pinch, or, not wanting to really invest in yourself. Well, that can come up later in life through our different thoughts and through our body's emotional and physical senses reaction. And so practices like meditation and, having a coach, like a spiritual coach like Kerri or myself, is to help you become more present and kind of diving deeper in all sorts of ways into that subconscious inner child. And we can pick up things along the way after 7 years old too. But I think it's really interesting, a lot of the stuff that, kind of lingers, and you're like, well, why am I triggered by these things? Usually comes from something you might have heard or experienced when you were little. And it's, for me, like, what an honor to be here in this lifetime. This is one big initiation into our spiritual or ascension path of our full selves. And without this body, we would be that higher self, right? It would be done. We would be fully baked.
Yeah.
And so why don't treat your body really well? Why not be present with it? Because this is the one relationship you'll have your entire life here. And just being present and honoring it. And this can be something as easy as, when you eat, I just take a few seconds. I ground myself, take a few deep breaths, and just open my heart. And just thank the food. I think about every single ingredient that I'm about to eat. I think about my partner, and I thank him and myself and everybody who grew the food. And you don't have to be that aware or, really thinking those thoughts. Just open your heart and blessing it. And really taking the time to chew the food, to eat it, to taste it, to enjoy it, whether you're by yourself or with somebody else. It's really that simple. We all know what's actually food. and what's not, what's a food-like substance. And we all know how we can better clean up our diet. And I'm not here to tell anybody, and I hate meal planning. I hate one fits all, because my diet or how I eat food or what food I eat changes monthly, weekly. It's really tuning into me and what I'm craving. And when I say craving, when you actually take a step back from a sugar or grain, really carbohydrate fed diet like we all love to eat when we're stressed out, and we actually think, what sounds good to me, your body knows what you need. It knows nutritionally or spiritually, because every plant and vegetable has energy. We're all just energy, including our plants. It has this beautiful bioluminescent energy, and your body knows, just as a mother's breast milk will change to her baby depending on what nutritional things it needs. Your body knows it's leading your way. And I started to tune into this when I started getting into more the 3D diet side of my journey. And I'm mostly plant-based, but I do eat fish. And right before my menstrual cycle, I would crave beets. And like the root, like they taste like dirt, but I love that. And I just could not get enough of them. But it makes sense, the high iron content in there, the root vegetable. My body was really trying to ground me down into myself, into Mama Earth, to help set me up for success. Because as a woman, our menstrual cycle, our actually menstruation, is like the most physical and most beautiful spiritual act that it performs all month long. And that's usually the time where most of us are eating our least healthiest, which is okay. I love eating a good chocolate chip cookie during any time of the month, really. But to feed it as if you're a beautiful star athlete, that, fuel your body with this beautiful spiritual goodness. So yeah, long answer to that question, but it's really connecting. It's a perception shift of why we're taking care of ourselves, why spirituality isn't just getting out of your body, isn't just ascending, because we actually have the opportunity, in my belief, to ascend with these bodies.
Yeah, otherwise, why would we be here doing this? It's an integration, it's a synthesis of the soul and the body, and the physical reality and the soul reality. I love that. I feel like a lot of times too on my journey, I've been called to like release, let go of certain things because of my spiritual path. Like, for example, I work with tobacco, which is a plant medicine for healing. And so because I work with tobacco, my body can't handle a lot of other toxins. Like, it's like that's the only toxin my body can really handle on a regular basis because I use it for healings. So I had to get rid of other things. Like, I had to stop the gluten. I got away with cheese pizza for a long time, and then I had to stop. No more of that. So I got to quit the cheese. I had to quit, but I got a choice. I was like, you can keep working with tobacco, which is a healing plant. You can continue your journey there, or you can go backwards and go back to cheese pizza. What do you want? And I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to cheese pizza. Like, it's not really fulfilling. When I consider the big scheme of things, like, I'd rather be doing my purpose and be working with the tobacco than, eating cheese pizza just because that was my comfort food up until a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So I just start, incorporating more beets and root vegetables like you're talking about. For healers, it's really important that we eat, at least in my journey, I've heard that doing healings, it's like so important to eat root vegetables because we got to be really in our bodies and really grounded in order to be a vessel for spirit to flow through. So
It's so beautiful. It
it's
makes
a
sense.
powerful
Yeah.
lesson. Yeah. But that's a really different reason to stop eating cheese pizza than I want to like lose 10 pounds.
I know, exactly. And that's why I love connecting the spirituality, because for me, it was the same thing with like caffeine and sometimes gluten. It was like, all right, you're at a certain point and you're eating the sugar, the caffeine, or the gluten to make up for the fact that you're not maintaining this vibration that you want to be at. For me, we'll take we'll take caffeine, for example, of trying to be this passionate, high vibe self, who's filled with light and love and excitement. But, I might be down here when I want to be up here. So I'm trying to externally or 3D fill that void instead of actually doing the work. And this is why I love working with people who are spiritually minded, because we know like all of our past wounds. Like when you're working through, when you've worked through already. And I know that eating a clean green diet is not going to solve everything, but it's going to help you with your ascension path. It's going to help you become this clear, grounded vessel. And I can't think of a higher why to do something like that is to really come back home to yourself. And yeah, I love working with spiritually minded people, as well as, a lot of people like myself who are recovering perfectionists who are just like, go, 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 more, more, more. And a lot of entrepreneurs are, even if you're a spiritually minded person, and teaching mindfulness through health and wellness. And I am just so honored to be here and help hold that space for other people, because it encourages me to hold that space for myself. And yeah, what a beautiful thing to heal yourself and help heal others too.
Yeah, at the same time, like as you learn the lessons, you're able to heal others. The thing about like what you were saying about the caffeine, where like you're here, but you want to be here. I've had
Mm-hmm.
that so many times where I felt that way because I have the capacity to have like a great lot of energy. And what I've learned is to be a little bit more like jaguar. Is like if you notice jaguars, like they're in the jungle, they lie around a lot. Like they actually don't do anything for a long time. They just sort of like chill and watch things and like gather a bunch of energy. And they're always paying attention, but they're just sort of lounging, and relaxing. And then when it's time to strike, they're all momentum, all action. It's just like whack, like they're on it. And that's the opportunist, in my human design chart. So I think when we're looking at like nutrition and this kind of thing, wellness in general, we also have to bring into accountability like your human design. Like you can look at a lot of different I like human design charts because I think that they're very accurate. And I'm a hermit opportunist, so like jaguar is a good metaphor for me. But because it's like the hermit part is the relaxing and the sort of like doing nothing and sleeping in and giving myself lots of pampering, and then the opportunist is okay, yeah, now I'm ready, like bam, I show up on the scene and people are like, wow, how does she have so much energy? And they probably think I'm like that all the time, but there's the jaguar piece where I'm not, like I'm just laying low. And during the jaguar piece I could completely be judging myself if I have an interview with somebody who's like really on, like really big energy and really on, and I'm like feeling like this. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I have to somehow bring myself. But I think it's because we don't really understand cycles in our current Western ideology. Like you're tuned into, because you're witchy, you understand like about nature cycles. Like
Oh yeah.
everything forms a nature cycle. And in Western consciousness, they just think everything is always on it, like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
not true.
that's what I was about to talk about too. So
So
what a
great.
beautiful
Perfect segue.
perfect segue. Yeah, in nature, nothing blooms all year. Simple as that. And there's literally a cycle for everything. Um, the season, you know, as a woman, what a beautiful opportunity to embody that every single month. And like you said, like, so we'll start with menstruation, which is like winter and like dark and tuning inward. And I always feel a lot more intuitive during those times. And like first day of my period, I would rather not leave the house. Not because I can't, it's just like you said, the jaguar energy of tuning inward, laying around a lot of self-care and being present and listening inward. And then after that, we come out of our menstruation into the follicular stage, which is more like spring. And we're kind of like stepping out slowly, sprouting, emerging, which is still a little bit slower, but we're kind of gaining that momentum, deciding what we want to grow this cycle. And I love working with the moon, having a podcast called Witchy Wellness Radio. And a beautiful thing with the new moon, to tie that into that. What are your new moon intentions to bring forth the next moon cycle? And after that is ovulation, which is, summertime, everything's in full bloom. That's what you're referring to, Kerri. When you bring it, you're on, and everybody's like, whoa, like she must be like this all the time. I'm the same way. I really have to tune into this cycle, because if I don't, I run myself down really quickly and really deplete my energy. And as people who want to show up as healers and holding this space for other people to grow, you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not grounded and you're not tuning into these natural cycles, you're just giving. And it's like you're just sucking that life force out of you. And for me, it's this visualization through my meditations and everyday life is tapping into that field, that the quantum, or like the void, whatever you call it, that energy that connects us all, and bringing that into myself, connecting to it while I'm in this body. And then back to summer, we start to slow down and things start to die in the fall. And for me, seeing the first leaves fall off the trees in the autumn is the most beautiful thing, because it's kind of like the PMS of the year. And I hate to say that, because PMS really shouldn't be a thing. It's really just our bodies telling us what we need to let go of. And I forget the study, but there was a study, medical study done about women. We actually hear, even though someone says the exact same thing all month long, we hear more negativity during that time, that luteal time in our menstruation cycle. That's not a bad thing. For me, that's your body leading the way. That's your body saying, like, hello, you've been spiritually bypassing this, or just bypassing this altogether all month long. Here it is. What do you want to do with it? So the fall is kind of like, for lack of a better term, for spiritual people, like the Mercury retrograde. Everything's hitting the fan. I don't want to use it as a catch-all, but it kind of feels like that too, like luteal, PMS, fall, but then brings us back to the winter where we began, which is the dead of winter, where we can kind of tune inward and see where all those things that came up before for us, where do we need to heal and where do we need to grow, and doing that inner work. And my whole life is kind of centered around that, between how I move my body, how I eat, how I do interviews for other podcasts or my own podcast. Like right now, I'm at the end of my ovulation phase, which is great. Ovulation, like you're connected, like you are just like this bright, shining light. But first few days, probably 3 to 5 days from now, I'm not really going to want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's that, like, I want to hole up. I don't want anybody to see me like this kind of phase, right? It's like,
and that's okay.
the negativity, you've got the negative face is like, but I agree with you, because those quote negative experiences, those are just things that we need to take a look at more deeply and maybe make a new choice around. And when we're in summertime, we're ignoring that because we're happy and things are going well and we're in the flow, and we're like, oh, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to look at that right now. I'm busy right now. I'm enjoying the flow. I want to be in the flow. The flow feels great. And then it comes to a close for now. And so you get a chance to review, which I love. And so you need to know what you need to review, right? So you get irritated. That tells you what you need to review.
Yep.
In a really loud and clear way.
For sure. And I think, and our bodies tell us that too, whether emotionally, I know winter, if I don't feel grounded, what I'm going to do, I'm going to emotionally eat more. Everybody thinks you put on pounds or whatever in the winter just because that's how it is. But I really think our bodies are trying to tell us to ground and tune inward. And, being on the spiritual path, I feel like for me at least, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, that we get so stuck in here, when we really need to be down here. And especially when it relates to something more 3D, like our life, like our health, relationships, sometimes like, we spiritually bypass things, but through feeling in your own body and understanding your body's needs and wants is so empowering along this journey to really let your body lead the way and trust and surrender. And I know, like, for myself, for years, it's like, oh, those are trigger words. Oh, to really let go and let your higher self or universe or source lead the way. And these vessels are telling us that through our emotions, through, when you meet somebody or you're coaching somebody and you get this intuitive hit that you're like, this potential relationship seems great on paper and everything checks off my list. But for some reason, my body is really not okay with this. And instead of pushing through, your body's only going to get louder if you keep pushing through. And spiritually, it's the same thing. It's like, if we have an opportunity to heal something within ourselves, ancestrally, whatever, if we ignore that or bypass it, my belief is it's a cycle, right? It'll come up in a different way and possibly a bigger way in the future or a different lifetime. The very Buddhist way of thinking about this is like, well, maybe not this lifetime, maybe, the 20 lifetimes from now. But I think this time, I only can speak to this time right now, is such a beautiful time in humanity. We're at this edge of a new era of what humanity can look like. And that actually, all it is tuning inward. And we know what humanity can look like. And it's very supernatural, I believe, to be able to know what you want to do, listen to your body's needs, and despite everything going haywire outside of you, either in your own life or, just the global picture at large of humanity, you connect here. And it's through that heart and brain coherence that we actually bring this 5D heart-centered consciousness into this reality, and which, in my opinion, is ascending. It's choosing to connect inward, no matter what's happening. I don't know how you feel about that, Kerri, but I'm sure you have a lot to say about that.
I do. I feel like the body's very literal with how it shares the contracts you've made without even knowing it, by hearing it all the time or growing up with it or whatever. Like, it'll tell you. And then I feel like then we're bringing in the 5-dimensional love to soothe that wound, right? So like for a long time, I get this pain in my neck, like it keeps coming back. And then I go, oh, my mom used to always say you're a pain in the neck. So, and I'm writing the book, Healing the Mother Wound, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not done with the book yet. So I'm always aware, like, of those nuances of like how your body is affected by things that you're working on spiritually, that you're, sort of like untwisting and untwining from your body and healing with love and awareness. It's really that literal. Like, my neck, there could be a logical reason, like, oh, because you drummed or whatever, but it's not. It's there's a meaning in my body to that. And as I step further into my path and further into contradiction with the desires of my mother, then things pop up in my body to remind me that I'm being a pain in the neck or a pain in the ass, or my arm hurts or something, my armpit, places where I had trauma, so this is just, part of the untangling of that. It's to become aware that the body is actually that literal.
Yeah.
And you got to
It's just
be
trying to
present with
help.
it. It's like, oh, you're feeling this, by the way. Right now, you're feeling like maybe I'm connected with my mom, and then my neck hurts or something, or this hurts, these
Mm-hmm.
places that have been identified. So I think it's fascinating. It's just a way of working, bringing compassion to it and awareness to it, and like, oh, sweetie, my inner child's feeling like a little nervous about bringing this book out into the world,
Yeah, and that's okay. And, I'm just thinking of examples in my own life through up until my early 20s. I was chronically constipated, chronically bloated. No matter what I ate, I would always eat like a lot of kale, green. I, sometimes felt like a catchphrase I tell my clients is, you can eat your whole entire body's weight in kale and still not feel good, right? It's dealing with these emotional issues. And Louise Hay has a beautiful section of her book, You Can Heal Your Life. And she has a little mini book, You Can Heal Your Body, which is a great intro into kind of basic metaphysical, literal things that we're talking about. And it's great. I have it by my nightstand. I give it to everybody. It's a great little gift. But I found in myself that, being a very empathic person and not really realizing that, and stuffing down my own emotions and other people's emotions, and really literally clogging my body up with unprocessed shit. And I'm sorry for the bad pun, but
oh no, I totally get it. Or letting go of it. Like I had trouble letting
let that
go.
go.
Like at the end of
Yeah, same thing.
2019, the last, like, I don't know, 4 months of 2019, it was a big year of letting go. Like we had tremendous opportunity to let stuff go, and I knew that. So I was spiritually like going, okay, letting it go, letting it, like physically letting it go this way, letting it go that way, like every way I could let it go, I was letting it go.
And it's true. It's funny, but your body's so
It's true.
literal like
So
that.
literal.
And it's just trying to help. Like, no one likes being constipated. I get it. And you're pissed off and angry, and you're just like, oh, there's nothing sounds better than going to the bathroom. But your body's like, gotta do the work.
You have to actually let it go before it will
Like,
go.
sorry.
And if you keep holding on to it, we're going to let you know because it's going to hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And another example is like when I was married previously, and this is what kind of led me into the more spiritual side. And, we were hiking actually on our honeymoon, and I damaged my right leg, and being like my knee, but it was my hip and on my whole thigh. And no matter what I did, I couldn't heal it even after I left. And so it was doing that work of moving forward, stepping into my own power,
Yeah.
and realizing that I am safe, that I can hold myself. And yeah, the body is so literal. Like this past month, I've been having random sciatica pain, and I've never had sciatic nerve issues on my left hip.
Yeah,
So
of
I'm
course,
like,
because we're working on the divine feminine. We're bringing in the divine feminine. So,
yeah, I'm like, what am
yeah.
I not recent? And it's like, I get sassy, but it's fun. And it's just like, all right, what are you trying to say? And, I might meditate, or I might just go write down and have a conversation in my journal with myself, or take a bath. It's just that presence. And it's not one fix all stop, it's this peeling away at this onion of yourself. And we're never going to be fully baked, like you said at the beginning
No,
of the
we're here to
episode.
explore.
Yeah, and I think that that's okay. And sometimes I'm like, we're like, oh God, another awakening or another whatever. But that's why we're here, and I
And I
have
don't
to
think
remind myself that.
you can't skip the physical embodiment of the awakening. It's just part of the process. So you just have to go through it however it manifests for you. Sorry, people. It's just part of it. You just got to go through this part.
Yeah.
And I think on the other side of this, there's more union,
Mm-hmm.
more union.
And finding ways for me to, I know you like to drum, you love drum circles, or
Mm.
finding the embodiment practices, or just finding that, like, how do you like to move your body? Right. And, I love having a dance party around my kitchen, like right behind here. I dance all the time. Or Is it yoga, or is it going for a hike, or I took a twerking class last month, like just for fun. It felt so ridiculous, but like it was so beautiful. There were so many different women there, all ages, sizes, backgrounds. Like it was so beautiful, and we were all supporting each other. And I encourage it. If anybody could take a twerking class, just a fun way to be in and love your body, because like, yeah, we're great at doing the hard work, and like there's always going to be something else to come up, but like in my opinion, I'd rather be having fun while I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you brought the twerking, especially considering we just had Shakira and J-Lo
I
shaking their booties
know.
at the, and there's so many people upset about that. And I was like, I think it's fantastic. There's reclaiming their sexual power. Like, and I know how much spiritual inner work it takes to do something like that.
Yeah,
Tons.
I started crying when I saw it. I was just like,
I was
felt
like,
so
yeah,
empowered, like like yes.
yeah.
And yeah, and I have to say, like, one more thing about the twerking class. They wrote, like, "Why are you here?" on the intake form, and of course, like, my woo-woo self is like, "To fully embody my divine feminine self."
Yeah. Because we
Why
should
else
be
would I
able to
be
move
here?
our bodies however we want, as
Yeah.
females, and not suppress ourselves out of fear of being taken advantage of or violated in some way. And that's really, that's what I loved about what they did, is they weren't doing it for anybody else but themselves. It was really clear that they were fully embodied, like just enjoying their own personal experience and shining in that, like totally empowered. And people could think whatever they want of it. They're like, whatever, that's you.
Well, yeah. If it's triggering, whatever triggers you, whether it was that or something else, that's something that you need to work on.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
how
If it
that,
triggers you, it's your stuff.
yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your judgments. It's all you. Yeah. And probably it's you wishing you could twerk. And guess what? Apparently Lauren's saying there's twerking classes available, so you can go twerk.
Go
Shake
twerk.
your booty.
Not all twerking moves work with each body type. So certain moves might work better with yours, as I learned,
Oh, now I want
but
to
it
move
is
my body.
possible. It is possible.
Because
Yeah.
when you move your body and your hips and all that, like you loosen it all up. And I think that's what we need, Lauren. I think we need to loosen up our booties. We've been
Hmm.
really constrained for too long. We need to loosen it up.
Yeah. And, I'm a yoga practitioner, teacher, student, and like hip openers still. Like I have to be super present with myself, because we store so much there. And I've cleared so much just by doing pigeon or a hip opener.
Oh, I love
And
pigeon. Yeah.
I've had times where I just start hysterically laughing even. That's been fewer than crying. And like last week I just started crying on one side but not the other. And I don't know why, but it's like allowing my body to process or let go, or allow it to flow. And a concept I've been kind of personally working on, or just like thinking about, is that like energetically, sometimes I think of different blocks in my body, especially when healing a body part like my hip injury, and I would be like, oh god, my knee is always so blocked, I can't do anything about it, even though I know I can. But it's just a lack of flow,
Hmm.
right? It's not an actual block. And how can I bring more energy and flowing into my life, into my body? For me, that was a lot more empowering, even though it's basically saying the same thing. It's just a little bit of a shift of how to increase the flowing of that, rather than there's a block, there's a wall.
Yeah,
It kind of
flow.
invites you
Yeah,
into.
increase flow rather than focus on the stuckness.
Hmm.
Oh, I love that. Gorgeous. Well, so many tips in this broadcast about healing the body and being present with it. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom.
Of course. Thank you for having me on. I love chatting with you on here and on Witchy Wellness Radio too. So it's been a pleasure.
So, how do people get started with you? Do you have a gift for them, or do you have a way for them to like get going with you to find out more about what you do? I know you have your podcast.
Yeah, so I have my podcast, Witchy Wellness Radio, and as well as my website, which is just lorencellentani.com. I have a few free meditations and different downloads on there. I think I have like a PMS
Oh,
guide to like curing your PMS through like different mindfulness and 3D, more like diet changes. But I also offer, one-on-one coaching right now. And the first consultation is free. And so I'm really thorough. So if you guys want to, possibly think about having coaching with me, I really take the time to get to know you, but also to really feel like we're on this experience together now and hold that space for you because my clients, I want to be able to empower you to heighten that sense of intuition in your own self and in your body. And I tell my clients when I start working with them, we can renew this in a few months, but like, I don't want to see you after this. Like, I want to send you off into your world. I'm not worried about business really. Why I'm doing this is to help others shine their light brighter. So we start off with a free consultation to see maybe what you want to have help with, or what you want to tune your wellness intuition into. And then I offer 3-month coaching packages at a time where we meet twice a month, basically every other week, total of 6 sessions on a call like this. And I find that 3 months is a really good timeline for change. When you're going through change or trying to let go or create a new habit, that you're stuck in this, or I guess not stuck, you throw yourself into the unknown. And that can be scary, and even more triggers or habits or behaviors pop up into that. And to be able to have somebody there to help hold that space and remind you why you're doing this while you're creating these new habits is
that's
life-changing.
helpful. Yeah, you
It's
need
helpful.
constant reminders when you're going to change.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And then later, I'm hoping later this year, I want to do more of group coaching. But right now I just offer one-on-one, which I love so much. It, I know you love working with
Oh
people
yeah,
too.
I love, yeah.
I love
It's great to
helping.
see change. It's great to see
Yeah.
evolution. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. So everyone, I will put the links in the show notes so you'll know how to get in touch with Loren. And please like and share this out. If you really got a lot out of this episode, please rate it on iTunes or on YouTube, wherever you found it, and leave a comment, share it out so other people can find it too. And I always give kisses on the way out. So you want to help me give kisses? Here we go.
Of course.
Okay. Yay. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time on Soul Nectar Show. Bye for now.
Bye.